It's podcadzo.
You know what? I'm kind of warm. I'm gonna pop this off.
No,
quick.
leave the swag on. Looks too good.
I'm pop it off. I'm gonna pop it off.
Okay, is this a surprise?
This is a surprise.
All right.
Hold on.
I'm waiting.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
For the listener, my eyes are closed.
Okay, open them.
Oh my God! Did you get that in Japan?
Yes. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
For the full story.
Show the camera real quick.
All right.
For the listeners,
For those who
it's
don't
a
know.
U2 t-shirt.
Oh, hold on. Gotta get right. Whew. For those who don't know, okay, my first real concert was the Vertigo tour with my mom. I was in like second or third grade. I was young. She tied a string around my wrist,
Oh,
tied it to her wrist. We were connected the whole show, so I couldn't get lost.
I like that.
This was the shirt. Oh, what are you looking at?
Spiders. No.
Is there a spider?
No, my foot got caught up in some cords. I was just making sure I didn't unplug anything. Continue.
not a
I didn't
snake?
mean to. No, not a snake. A slippery snake.
Yeah, so this was the shirt that my mom got me at that show that we went to. But she got me like a medium because I was really young. And then obviously middle school comes around. The shirt's getting a little tight. U2's kind of not cool to like at that point in time.
So you turn
the
it into a
shirt's
belly
gone.
shirt. Oh,
Shirt's gone at that point. I don't know what happened to the original shirt. But then obviously like over a decade goes by. I haven't even thought about this shirt. And then walk into a place called like Snow Wolf or something. It's a secondhand store, like a vintage store. They had like jean jackets and old Levi's and like old sweaters and a bunch of cool shit, like button downs, flannels, corduroy, all the vintage shit. There's like stacks of band shirts and I'm just going through them for fun. And then like 4 down, I find this and I'm like, I start geeking. I'm with this dude who went to Japan with us. His name's Justin. And I just was like, dude, like, I used to have this shirt. Like, this was my first shirt from my first show. Like, I never thought I'd see it again. I never thought I'd have another one. And so, of course, I bought it. And it's literally, like, the same shirt.
that's so funny.
And it has the dates on the back. And, yeah, I got it in Ginza, Tokyo. So
It has the date you went to? Mm-hmm. Oh, man, that's so cool.
so crazy.
So what, 2004 was
2005.
that? 5, okay.
2005.
Nice, dude.
Yep. I thought it was 04, but it's 05 according to the shirt. So
What a shirt. It's beautiful.
I know. It's so crazy.
I think this is the era of U2 when they looked the coolest.
The
I
merch
love all
definitely goes hard.
Yeah.
Like, this shirt was cool. There was another one that was also, like, red with the black and white thing going on, but it was, like, the Target from the video. And I think it had them on it, but it might have just been the Target. No matter what the case, all the shirts were banging. And I now have it again. I have the second shirt, the second version of the same shirt from a show that happened so long ago and honestly feels kind of obscure. Like,
Yeah.
no one is like looking for this particular shirt. I just got so lucky that they happen to have it. Like, it's one of many stories of just like random luck that happened in Tokyo and just like random where I was just like, I can't believe that this is happening right now.
That's
Like,
amazing. I'm trying to think if there's any old band shirts I got rid of that I would like. I know for a fact I had several cool Green Day shirts, which I would love to have versions that fit me now. I don't think I had some cool Led Zeppelin shirts. They weren't tour shirts. They were just like random t-shirts my dad bought for me.
Yeah.
I remember wearing a Led Zeppelin shirt and hoodie constantly in like elementary school.
That's the thing about this shirt is like, I never, from when I got rid of my original one, or maybe I just gave it to my mom. I honestly have no idea what happened to it, but like from the time that I last wore it to when I saw this, I never once thought about the shirt. And it was one of my like favorite shirts. Like, there's
could it not
definitely
be?
shirts where I think about it and I'm like, man, I wish I still had that. Or like, instead of just throwing it away when it didn't fit, I should have like, I don't know, like cut a patch out of it or like put it in a frame or something stupid, you know? But I never did that with any of my old shirts. But this shirt, I just genuinely never fucking thought about ever until I saw it. And then it all just came back to me at once where I was like, I used to wear that to school like every week. Like it was in the dirty laundry constantly. And like part of the reason why it didn't fit was because it was so shrunken down and like beaten up and just like it was on its last legs by the time I really was like, fuck this shirt. So yeah, it was just a fortuitous thing. There were many fortuitous things, and this is like a metaphor of the vacation.
Well, let's get right into
But
it.
I am cold, so I'm going to put my
And the hoodie is super dope. That is also from Japan.
Thanks.
You should show that to the
Thanks.
camera.
And off the camera, I got some sick shoes too that are also from Japan.
Yeah.
I got dripped out. I got this watch. I don't think I have a good picture of it, but I'll show it to you after this. It's like handmade in Tokyo, only sold at one place.
Wow.
And fully mechanical skeleton, like just a sexy piece of equipment.
I would love to see that.
All right. Fill the silence.
Yeah, while Julian's doing that, welcome to Podcadzo, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. In case we didn't mention it, Julian was in Japan. That's why there was no episode last week. Julian was traveling across the world to the Japans. He just got back. When did you get back? 2 days ago? Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
And he's going to fill us all in on the trip.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I don't have anything like prepared necessarily, but I'm just going to show you pictures.
First, how's the jet lag? How are you
honestly,
feeling?
okay, so getting back here was not bad. You know, everyone says coming back or like going east is worse. But for me, it was the opposite. Like going to Japan was fucking horrible. The flight was longer, which didn't help, and just the timing of everything was weird. Like, I'm trying to think. I think we left here. Our flight took off at sometime in like the early afternoon, or maybe not even afternoon. It might have been like 11 when we left. But then it was a 12-hour flight there. But we also were going like ahead in time. So then when we landed there, it was also like the middle of the afternoon. And it took us like an hour to get to our hotel from the airport. And so that
so you landed it in the afternoon? I thought you weren't landing till like midnight.
No, we landed
Japanese time.
We landed in like the afternoon there.
Okay.
Yeah, we went ahead 15 hours and still landed like 2 hours after we took off, basically. Like we took off at around like 11 or noon, and then we landed there at like 1 or 2 the next day.
Yeah. Trippy.
Yeah, super fucked.
But coming back was okay.
And then coming back was kind of like, in a lot of ways, I think we just anticipated it more. Like we knew that it was going to be shittier, but then because of, again, the way that the flight worked out, like we left at like 5:30 p.m. and flew like through the night that we had kind of gotten used to, the Tokyo night. And then when we landed here, it was like afternoon, the same day. Yeah. So then
time traveling.
We pretty much just had to get home and make it through the afternoon, which we didn't. We went to bed at like 5 p.m.
Yeah.
But then we slept for most of the night and didn't really have any issues. And then getting back to the regular schedule from that has been pretty easy. And also, like, I think it just helps being at home, eating food that you know is familiar, like your body can handle it. You can kind of just sleep if you want to. You don't have to worry about like doing shit or whatever, being on vacation. And also the weed helps.
No doubt.
Yeah, going there, doing cold turkey with stopping the weed and also not bringing any nicotine was rough.
Oh, you didn't
So
smoke any
I
nicotine?
I wound up smoking some nicotine while we were out there, but I just didn't bring
Cigarettes?
any with me. Yeah.
Are Japanese cigarettes?
So I think I kind of did it wrong a little bit. There's this, I brought it home. I'll show it to you too. They have this device called the Plume, which is just like an electronic battery. You put they make cigarettes specifically for the Plume. They're like tiny, half-size cigarettes, a little thinner. They're not packed all the way, I don't think. They're packed like 3/4 of the way, and then the bottom of it's like empty. You put the tiny cigarette in the Plume, and then it just like heats up. the base of the cigarette and then creates smoke that way, but you don't actually like light the cigarette.
So do you inhale through the plume or through the other end of the cigarette?
You inhale through the cigarette.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
I've never seen this system before.
Super, super interesting.
Is that just a Japanese thing?
I think so.
I've never seen that.
So from what I researched, and I didn't do any research till I was out there because I wasn't like trying to figure out like how was I gonna get nicotine. Like also because I'm just not that smart. I don't plan ahead. Like I was just like I'll just get a vape when I'm out there. But tobacco or like nicotine vapes, I guess I should say, are illegal in Japan. So all the vapes are zero nicotine, which is cool. You can still rip it. You get that sensation of ripping something. But after a few days, I was like, I kind of want a cigarette. So then I bought the plume thing, tried it out. It kind of worked a little bit, but just not that great. And also the cigarettes that I bought for it were just like so harsh.
Why? That's surprising that vapes are. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought smoking was still a big thing in Japan, so I would think they had adopted the Nick vape.
There's definitely a fair bit of smoking out there. A lot of plume usage, like a lot of people use it, so leads me to believe that it's either just something you adapt to, or I was using it wildly wrong. But no matter what the case, everyone was just like smoking cigarettes or plume pretty much. Like there was vape usage, but they're all zero nic vapes, so people are just vaping for fun. Nicotine vapes weren't illegalized. Sorry. They weren't made illegal until 2010. So before that, I'm sure they had some form of nicotine vape, and then the government made them illegal. But the interesting thing about the zero nic vapes is that there's no laws really against anyone having them, so like kids can buy them. They're zero nic, so ultimately it doesn't really matter, but it's still kind of like the principle of like, well, you shouldn't really teach a kid the mouth habit of vaping if you don't want them to smoke cigarettes. But doesn't really seem to be that big of a bugaboo. The interesting thing about it too is like you can't just smoke anywhere you want. They're like pretty strict about where you can smoke. They have designated smoking areas, and they're usually like fully covered areas that are like off the street. So like they have lounges that are for smoking, or just like these like bus stop looking things that are just for smoking. But smoking on the street's like not cool. So there was a lot of trying to figure out like where to smoke, and then sometimes kind of just like smoking where we're not supposed to, and trying to just like discreetly do it, and dumping cigarette butts into a water bottle, because there's also like no trash. Like everywhere was super clean. That's so nice. I wasn't trying to just like, you know, be that stupid fucking tourist prick bug that just throws American my trash on the ground.
Yep. Litter bug.
But yeah, so that was the smoking situation / the jet lag. I definitely still feel kind of weird. Like I feel kind of stoned all the time, even when I'm not stoned. Definitely a little bit of like floating around through the days. I could literally lay down and sleep right now. Like, not much is stopping me from going to bed. But I'm sure by the time I have to go back to work in a few days, it'll hopefully be better.
Yeah, I'll adjust.
And then, I guess I was going to try to say, so from Fortuitous Stories, the U2 shirt was one. I wanted to mention walking through Shibuya one night, just with the group of people that I went with. We were just kind of shopping around. We wanted to see Shibuya at night. It's like kind of a whole vibe.
Right.
All the signs, all the neon. There's so many fucking people. Like the busiest crosswalk in the world is in Shibuya. Like all that cool stuff. Uh-huh. So yeah, essentially we were just kind of fucking around, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw, and I'm not sure if you saw this on my story. But
the rapper?
Yeah. I saw a gold Benz across the street, and I was like, that's a gold Benz. And I only really have ever seen a gold Benz in like one place, or, you know, one creator.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, but there's no way it's him. But, you know, I still want to go see the gold Benz. So I cross the street, start walking up to this guy. And, of course, it is none other than Sho. And I don't know if I'm actually saying that right. I think I am. But Sho, who's like a rapper, like J-pop artist. His songs aren't like the most amazing, but he's definitely like got that TikTok influencer thing going on where he like lives on TikTok. He makes a shitload of shorts, and they're all turned into like reels and shit for Instagram. that's like how I know about him, is from seeing him on Reels, and he's got like a bunch of just quirky songs. He's got the gold Benz.
So I'd never heard of this guy.
He's like the one Japanese celebrity that I would recognize off the street.
Which is crazy.
And
That's the one you run
literally
into.
saw him. Yeah.
That's so funny. Were people freaking out about him being there? Or
No.
It doesn't seem like anyone really noticed him from the pictures.
I think
Do you
some
think he's
people...
in Shibuya all the time, probably?
Yeah. I think some people are relatively... Look at him. The security guard was giving me some shit for trying to take pictures, but basically no one really seemed to give a shit, and I do think he's there all the time. So they're just like, it's this fucking guy again. But for me, I was like, I felt kind of starstruck. I was like, I literally watch this dude's Reels when I'm taking a shit, and he has like 300-something thousand followers. But that was one of the other fortuitous things that happened. And then you all definitely already know this, but on our way back at Narita Airport, ran into none other than Napalm from Hiatus Coyote, and we can definitely put the selfie up. I'll send you the selfie if you don't already have it. But
You sent it to me. Yeah, I'll throw that on the pod. Yeah, that's so funny. And
I got McDonald's, and then she was like 4 spots behind me at the McDonald's, and we were waiting for our food. I kind of just was like, hey, are you Napalm? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I'm a huge fan of your music. And then we were both kind of just waiting for food. And I was like, sorry, for bothering you. And she's like, no, it's chill. We're just like waiting for our food.
Uh-huh.
But I told her I was a huge fan of her music. And she was like, did you come to the shows?
Yeah.
And I was like, shows? Like, I didn't know you guys were playing fucking shows. I was just here, like, with my girlfriend, just, like, fucking around, having fun in Tokyo. I was like, yeah, we played 2 shows this last week in Tokyo.
Nice.
And I was just like, that would have been so crazy.
That would
going
be really
to
cool.
see Hiatus Coyote at somewhere in Tokyo. Then I kind of asked her, like, what'd you guys do, like, when you weren't playing shows? And she was like, honestly, not much.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much the whole conversation. And then
Australian artists probably go to Japan a lot, so that's pretty short flight.
7.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Not bad. We were looking it up on the way because I was like, I wonder if, like, her jet lag is, like, going to be way worse or way better. And turns out, yeah, it's not that bad. Australia to Japan.
What's the time difference?
I don't know. I would assume...
Probably very close time zones.
Yeah. Australia would have to be, like, ahead of Tokyo, right?
I'll look this up. Keep talking about
right.
Japan.
So then, yeah, I guess basically those fortuitous stories out of the way, I'll kind of just go through some highlights that I think you might like. Day 1 was pretty much just shopping for us. We went to this place called the Ginza 6, which is just like a huge outlet mall.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a bunch of just cool designer stores like...
Okay, it's 9:44 a.m. on Wednesday in Tokyo and 11:44 in Australia. So 2-hour time difference. They're 2 hours ahead.
Not as much as you'd think, considering...
It's like what New York is to us.
Or Cali.
They're
Cali's
an hour behind us.
behind.
Yeah.
God, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, our time zones are so fucked in America.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, yeah, just if we're talking times that the sun rises, like, we go, backwards before we go forwards, traveling time zones.
What do you mean by that?
Don't follow up with me on that. I told you my brain's still... But yeah, so we just went shopping on day 1. Saw a bunch of cool random shit. Here's a bike with square wheels. I feel like you would dig that.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I've actually seen videos of people riding bikes with square wheels.
So many watch stores, and one of the dudes we went with was like big on watches. He was trying to buy a
Big
watch.
watch guy.
Yeah, but there's so many watch stores. There was like, Balenciaga, Cartier, fucking Gucci stores, all these crazy stores that I've never seen in person before. Couldn't afford anything from any of them, but it was cool to just like walk inside. This is the watch guy wearing a goofy little...
That was the guy slinging watches? Or that's your buddy who's into watches?
Into watches, yeah.
Oh, okay. Right on.
And then... Oh, yeah, we went to the Pokemon Card Lounge, which was kind of cool. They just had these big... They sold Pokemon cards and decks and stuff, but they also just had these big Pokemon cards, which were super neat.
That's really cool.
And then we went to like this anime store. Here's some anime girls.
Nice. Are you an anime fan at all?
Not really, but Kelsey likes some animes and her friend likes some anime too, so we wound up buying some random stuff that was anime related. Here's a McDonald's poster.
Nice.
Samurai Mac looked pretty fire.
Was the McDonald's a lot different in Japan?
You know, we only ate there once.
At the airport?
Well, okay, so technically we ate there twice because the airport was like a last minute thing. I don't really remember that food. I also got the same thing that I got the first time, but the other time we went to McDonald's. We went to one in Shibuya, I think, or fuck, I honestly can't even remember where we were when we went to that McDonald's, but it was a fair bit better. The fries were exactly the same. The meat was the noticeable part. Like the meat definitely is way higher quality. And you can kind of like taste the fryer more. Like you could taste the oil from the fryer more, which I took as a good thing. Like it tasted a little more fresh.
Oh, something I meant to ask. Did you clock Napalm's McDonald's order?
I did not, unfortunately, but
I was very
my
curious
McDonald's
about that.
order, I got a spicy double cheeseburger. So it was like a double cheeseburger, but it had jalapenos on it.
Ooh.
In Japan, you can. Fresh jalapenos, and then also like double smoked cheddar. It was like dark orange cheddar cheese. It was so crazy.
Were you guys drinking at all?
Bad stuff. A little bit. We drank some sake on like the first day just because I wanted to have some real sake, and it was pretty good. And then drank a little bit with dinner, but then also Kelsey was getting motion sickness pretty badly at night. And alcohol was not helping with that at all.
Yeah.
So we were very moderate with the drinking. I tried to mostly just drink sake as much as possible. There's a couple times when I ordered drinks where they just like weren't, it just like wasn't good. I tried.
like cocktails?
Green tea sakes.
Oh, yeah.
A big cocktail over there is the highball.
Yeah, I like highballs.
Which, I don't know, maybe it was just because of the difference or the jet lag or whatever, but like the highballs over there just were not doing it for me.
Yeah.
I had one or two and they were just both so horrible. But all the sake that I had was fucking amazing.
I'd be a problem if I went to Japan because I love Japanese beer, I love Japanese whiskey, and I love sake.
Yeah.
I'd be
the Japanese
menace.
Beer and the sake are both very good.
Yeah.
And I also had a Guinness in your honor.
Nice.
At a bar one
Thank
night. We went to like a British pub.
Yeah. I love finding British pubs in...
It was definitely pretty funny.
Yeah.
It felt pretty comfortable to be in there because there was also a lot of other like tourists in there that were like Americans.
Right.
Or probably Brits too, and then we went back out to Shibuya at night, and then everyone kind of just did their own thing. Me and Kelsey went to some cool shops, including Tower Records, which was sick.
Oh, there's still Tower Records there?
There is a Tower Records
Nice.
there. This is a picture of the directory. It's 6 floors.
Wow.
And then I didn't take any pictures of inside Tower Records just because I, again, was focused on other things, but I did take this picture of the little display that they had. But yeah, so I'll just kind of talk through Tower Records really quick because it was honestly mind-blowing. Like, it was by far the coolest record store I've ever been to. It had like the most variety of not only artists, but like back catalog from artists. Like, everything Radiohead that you could possibly imagine, they had Japanese copies of, which was hard not to buy one of each. And then, yeah, the cutouts I wound up buying from there. I bought Jack White, No Name from there. I bought an Elbow record from there. I bought an Earl Sweatshirt record from there. Just so many cool things that I wasn't necessarily expecting to find.
All vinyl?
All vinyl.
And what? You ship it back or something, or you
No,
have
I
enough
put it
room in
in
your
my
carry-on?
fucking suitcase.
Okay, nice.
I'll show all of it to you after.
I would love to see
after
this.
this. But yeah, just a couple other interesting things too. Like so much Coldplay vinyl. Like they had an entire end cap that was just Moon music.
Yeah,
Like 40 copies of Moon music.
Japanese people really like British music.
And then you kind of mentioned
what I
it
understand.
earlier. Yeah,
Mhm.
Oasis.
Yeah,
There was a whole Oasis island, like Oasis T-shirts. Definitely, maybe 30th anniversary shit. New re-releases of all of the other Oasis records too. And I mean, I try not to be cynical about things, but this whole like getting the band back together, playing some shows, and then also having all of this merch for sale, it kind of makes it seem like a cash grab, like they're reuniting for the money, maybe.
I never even considered that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Noel Gallagher's going through a divorce right now or anything. It's not like he'd be stretched
Like
for cash
he really
for any
needs
reason.
the money.
Yeah, but yeah, no, the Japanese love Oasis in the Supersonic doc, which I cannot recommend enough. Doubt you've watched it yet, even though
Nope.
I've asked you too many times. There's
Haven't
a
had time.
good chunk of that doc where they talk about their first tour to Japan and how wild it was.
Yeah, it seems like the Japanese really like them, and they know that the Japanese really like them because they had a lot of shit for sale at that store. Yeah. I couldn't justify even looking at it. I was like, I just want to look at shit that interests me and not get pissed off about this Oasis bullshit right now.
Understandable.
But
What? No, you didn't.
I did get something.
Oh, dude. Oh my god, and you even got the Tower Records bag. This is so sick.
I asked the dude for an extra bag and he gave me like 10.
This is the best bag I've ever... Oh, no way. Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah, dude.
This is like the coolest thing I've ever gotten ever. I swear to God.
It's definitely very Japanese.
I want to be careful.
Most of the Japanese copies... Oh, dude, it's just shitty, weird, sticky paper.
I want to keep it on, I think.
Yeah, most of the Japanese copies, you just get like the outer sleeve that has all the song titles in Japanese.
Uh-huh.
But this, like, the whole thing is in Japanese, which is fucking crazy. So yeah, you could probably get a lot of money for that someday.
Yeah, man. Wow. I'm not joking. This is
The tower-
my new prized possession.
The tower there
This
had
is so
something for
rad.
everybody. I got that for you. Got something for my dad. Kelsey got herself a Studio Ghibli record.
Nice.
I got myself Earl Sweatshirt, which I never thought I'd get Earl Sweatshirt fucking anywhere. Yeah, something for everyone at the tower.
Dude, thank you. This is so rad.
Yeah, bro.
Nice heavy vinyl, too.
And yeah, it survived a like 5,500 mile plane ride in my check bag.
Not a dent on it.
Not a scratch.
Impressive.
Yeah, definitely traveled very well. I was so scared to bring vinyl back, and then there was a single thing wrong with any of the records. Like, they didn't even move in my suitcase.
That's
so
awesome.
Shout out United for that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, dude. This means a lot
Yeah,
to me.
man, of course.
This is the coolest gift I've ever received.
At first, I mean, I kind of wasn't lying. At first, when I saw everything, I was like, fuck this. I'm getting Colin Moon music. It's only 5,300 yen. But then we went through all of Tower, and I was like, no, there's really only one thing that works for Colin. And I mean, it's just so sick. Like, that entire outer sleeve being fully Japanese was just like, man, they really care about their Japanese audience. Like, they make it feel exclusive. They make it feel like a special thing. They make you feel like you're actually buying something that you can't get just anywhere you want, you know? So
Yeah. And they put thought into
They
it
put
for
a lot of
their
thought into
audience there.
yeah.
Wow.
And then, we saw this little trolley-looking thing with like 10 wheels.
Oh my god, dude! They have
They just have
aesthetics down so fucking hard, and just like everything's adorable too.
Everything's so cute.
Fuck, man, to live in Japan.
I'll have to go back through. There's like, I have some pictures of like random like train. There's like all the train safety stickers.
Oh, did you ride the bullet train?
Where it's we didn't ride the bullet train. We just rode like the subway.
Yeah,
we rode the subway a bunch.
Cool?
It was so sick. Like, you know, the lines take you across the entire city. Like, you can go literally anywhere you want from just a few lines, and they're all right by the hotel. They're all very accessible from pretty much no matter where you are in Japan. They're all like an eighth of a mile from each other.
Yeah.
But each subway just takes its own loop. So depending on where you need to go, you just take a certain loop. Gets you there in anywhere from like, 5 to 35 minutes. If you're taking like from the first stop to the last stop, it might be like 35 to 45 minutes. But that's like the extent of it. And then it's so cheap. Like, I think we used the subway like at least 10 times, probably more than 10 times. And I spent like $30 total.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it was
That's
insane. And it's clean. Like, the subways didn't smell like piss. I never felt like threatened. No one was ever in my shit.
Didn't ever see anyone masturbating or anything?
No, they have cars that are like for women only. Like, there's women only cars. So it's like, if you are uncomfortable, or like if you're a little girl on your way home from school, you just get in the women only car, and like you don't have to worry about fucking shit. And then they also have like designated seating, so like if you're in one of the main cars, certain seats are still only for women and children. So basically, no matter what, if you're a woman or a child, you're gonna have somewhere to sit on the subway.
What an advanced culture. And this shit figured out there.
Yeah, and like the stairways are like designated, like the
Up
left
and
side
down. Yeah.
is for down, the right side is for up. So like you can never get stuck on a stairway. Like, same for escalators. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say in Europe that's and you will get yelled at if you're standing on the right side of the escalator.
No, everyone's so nice in Japan. No one would ever be like, "Hey, get the fuck out of my way."
In Europe, they will.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, but they'll just kind of like look at you and be like,
yeah,
like, what are you doing? But they would never be like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
The entire time we were there, I think we had like 2 rude interactions, and they were both with like homeless people, like not normal. That sounds bad. But not just like Japanese people going about their business. Like, yeah, like every single person that saw us, that we interacted with, that we had anything to do with, if we like got in someone's way in the street, everyone was just so fucking nice and forgiving and patient. Like, it was crazy. It's definitely, out of any country I've been to, like, the people in Japan are by far the nicest. And like, no one worries about theft in Japan. Like, I saw this dude, one of the like parcel delivery homies, who was just going from building to building delivering packages, and he had a whole cart just full of boxes. And when he got to the stop, he would just take the one off the top, run inside for like a couple minutes, and all his boxes would just be in the street. It's like, if you were like even Fort Collins, like,
oh yeah,
that shit would just be gone. Like, you couldn't just like, and like at the hotel, people would like leave their suitcases out in the hallway, or like leave them down in the lobby. Like, all this shit that you just would never think to do in America, they just like, it's, yeah.
That's
you don't
nice.
have to worry about it. Like, no one is a piece of shit.
Amazing.
Like I was saying earlier, no litter. Everything smelled good. Like, huge cities, 35 million people in Tokyo, and it didn't smell bad. Like, it smelled bad like once, maybe.
Crazy.
Yeah.
16th Street in Denver, no one's ever fucking there, and it smells
like a fucking piss dumpster.
Yeah, it smells like a sewage processing plant constantly.
It doesn't make any sense. Even out here, like, I live in the middle of nowhere, and it still gets random sewagey smells from time to time, and like, I don't know, it just makes no sense. Like, how much more ahead of everything they are than us out there. Like, the technology, like, okay, the hotel we stayed in, granted, it was super nice, but like, our shower, I have to find a fucking video of this shower. It was so crazy. Like, it was an all glass shower, and like, it's hard to explain without showing it, but like, basically from the shower you could see the room. So that's the shower. right?
Yeah.
Big ass fucking shower, rainfall, like my
Nice.
dream shower.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, but what if I want to shower and not like be completely seen by everybody?
course,
like,
of course.
what if you're staying in this room with a coworker or something?
Or
like you're on a business
A
trip.
pedophile.
Or a pedophile and you're a young girl. Like you don't you don't want that.
God, I hope that.
So then there was this button. I think this is the right video. Yeah. This button you could push would just fog the glass like in an instant. So that shit just goes foggy
crazy.
and then you can't see in or out at all. And it's like I didn't know that technology existed.
Yeah.
The toilet,
Wow.
bro, when you'd walk into the bathroom, the toilet seat would automatically open. Like you'd open the door and the seat would just go up. Heated seat, you sit on it, super warm. Do your business.
Bidets
use
everywhere?
The bidet. Oh, of course. Use the bidet. Get yourself nice and clean. Stand up. Toilet automatically flushes. And then, after it flushes, the lid closes and it sanitizes the whole entire bowl of the toilet. And then it just opens up and it's ready to go again.
Jesus.
Like all these things that just seem like they should be
shit's
so,
so
obvious.
backwards
Like,
here.
why doesn't every single toilet in the world have that? But
No, in America, we make you open your disgusting toilet by hand, and then you have to wipe your
have to
shitty
wipe
ass,
your ass with your
single
hand.
ply paper.
yeah, and the sinks too. Every sink was automatic. They didn't have paper towels. Like everything was automatic hand dry. Your hands would be dry in 10 seconds. Everything was just perfect. And the other thing is, they didn't have trash cans anywhere. Like there's no litter, but there's also no trash cans. Like the expectation is if you like have litter with you, you just take it home.
Yeah.
Like you put it in your pocket and you carry it home with you and you throw it away when you get to your house. Like there was so many times when I would have like an empty water bottle and it's like, I need to throw this away, but you can't. There's literally not a public trash. There's no such thing as public trash cans.
Interesting.
So you just bring that shit home with you and throw it away at home.
Wow.
There was one time when I got some street food and I had like a little bit of trash, literally like a skewer and a napkin. This is like my entirety of my trash. And I went to throw it away at a different restaurant's trash can that was just out front. And I like put it in the trash and the dude was like, excuse me, like you can't throw your trash away here. Like it's our trash only. And I was like, what?
So did you have to reach in and get
I
it
was
out?
going to, and he was like, no, it's fine. Just leave it for now. But like, don't do that again. And I was like, damn, but that's like a rule, like for everyone. Like you don't throw other trash away in someone's
Into
trash
my
can.
it's
If you have
nice.
your trash, you just save it. You just,
That's your trash.
Your
Deal with
problem
it. That's your
that you deal
responsibility.
with.
Yeah.
So that was crazy and definitely took a lot of getting used to. Fuck. There was something kind of related to that I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, the trash thing was funny just because like the paradox of there wasn't trash anywhere and yet there also wasn't trash cans. It's like, well, what the fuck does everybody do?
Yeah.
Here, there's trash cans everywhere, and yet people just still throw their shit wherever the fuck they want without regard for anybody else.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, Japan is so cool. Like anyone who has time and money to go, you just have to do it. Like the way of life over there, even though it's so like chaotic and nonstop and like everyone always has something going on, like it still just feels so like organized and serene and like considerate and like careful,
purposeful,
and just purposeful. Like it's just beautiful. Like everything about it is so fucking sick. And
I can't wait.
I highly recommend it to anybody.
I will one day.
Let's go together.
Yeah. Podcadzo
Family
tour.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'm glad that I went with a bunch of people that I knew and that also had been to Japan already and kind of knew what was happening, cuz like having to figure out the subway was really difficult at first, and like the people that we went with kind of already knew the subway pretty well. But there was times when like we weren't with them and we had to figure out the subway for ourselves, and just having like the confidence of like, well, I can figure this out because like we've already done this once with someone else.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it helped a lot. And yeah, just being able to kind of feel out of place with other people was nice. Like in Mexico, it's kind of like with a small group. It's always kind of like you feel like you have eyes on you in a way, not in like a bad way, but it's just like people are looking at you. Like there's those Americans, like, and there's only a few of them, so it's kind of easier to like get on them and fuck with them. But like a group of like 8 huge American people in Japan, it was like
strength in numbers.
People weren't gonna necessarily fuck with us. Yeah. Not like anyone would anyway. Like I'm confident I could go to Japan by myself and just fuck around and have no plans, just wander around from city to city, and I would come back with like genuine friends. Like I feel like I made friends with people when I was out there, like, which is also a first for vacation. So
yeah,
really cool experience.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's awesome. So that was Julian's Japanese trip. We are recording this on election day, which is pretty funny.
Let's check the results.
I was going to say, should we pull up some?
Let's see where we're at.
Campaign
right now.
Or some election coverage.
Trump's still ahead.
Oh my God.
Trump's got 101. Harris has got 71. But it's still mostly red states that are reporting right now. Florida. I mean, shit. A bunch of these states. A lot of this is just early projections. A lot of these states aren't even remotely finished counting yet.
Yeah, the night is still young.
Yeah, we are recording this. It's 6:45 right now on election day. So let me ask you this, Colin. While I was in Japan, did anything interesting happen?
To me, or just to the country in general?
The country, yeah. I don't give a shit about you.
Well, nothing interesting did happen to me. Did it? I don't think so.
I
don't know what I've been doing. Nothing. Yeah, nothing interesting happened. Did anything interesting happen in the country? I also don't know the answer to that. I don't think so.
It seemed like from what I was relatively keeping up with, things kind of stayed the same. Like the Trump side of things just feel kind of tired. Like all the Trump supporters just feel like they're kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
Just like waiting for it to be over. And it also feels that way on the Democratic side too. Like, let's just get this fucking over with.
Well, the kind of news cycle for the Republican side has been just how bizarre the Trump campaign has gotten. Like, I saw a Daily Show clip about that today. Just like the shit the campaign's bringing up all of a sudden, like the whole squirrel thing.
I kind of missed the story with that.
This guy in like Ohio or somewhere had a pet squirrel, and I think he bit someone, and they put the squirrel down. And Republicans are up in arms about that for some reason. And he didn't get the squirrel vaccinated because, and wait for this, he didn't want the squirrel to get autism. The guy didn't give the squirrel like rabies shots because he thought the squirrel would become autistic. This is real. I'm not kidding.
Oh man, that squirrel wasn't going to live much longer regardless of shots or not, right?
So the Trump side of things, they're up in arms about the squirrel.
Sheesh.
You saw probably Trump perform fellatio to that microphone.
Mm-hmm.
He's announced that RFK is basically going to run the country.
He's going to run health.
Run health and
yeah.
Take fluoride out.
Wild on health.
He's going to take fluoride out of the water and all sorts of stuff. So it's gotten pretty bizarre on that side. And then I think on the Democrat side, there's a little bit of genuine terror and also just fatigue over everything. And it's interesting.
The Democrats seem to do this every single election cycle where it's like they spend the 3 months before the election being like ridiculously cocky, just like, we got this in the fucking bag, motherfuckers. Like,
yeah.
Fuck announcing policies, fuck announcing anything that's going to like give people any sort of indicator of like the campaign will actually run. Like, and then on election day, like the week of elections, they're just like, we might lose.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? We might lose this.
Yeah.
Their Democrats are funny.
Well, Should we talk about some music?
And he's probably going to win.
I don't know, brother. I don't know. I'm genuinely
By the time
nervous.
this comes out, we will know
We
for
will
sure.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk
Crazy.
about music for a second. The one thing that came out that I really paid attention to while I was in Japan was the new Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah. It's taking the world by storm. It's what do you think? We had talked about the singles last time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had praised, not last time we talked, but in general this year, I had praised Jack White for having the best planned and the most well executed release of any artist that I could think of for a minute. But I think Chromacopia kind of beats it in a lot of ways. Like, I think that the surprise announcement, the single announcement, the way that the video dropped, the way that he has used
and very distinct aesthetic of everything.
The tight aesthetic, the way that he has used Instagram primarily to like preview the new content, I think, has brought a level of excitement that is pretty new feeling. So yeah, I think all of those things together, that Chromacopia might be my favorite release of the year so far, just as far as the campaign around the release, like the pop-up shows that he's done, the listening party that he did, the trucks just driving around America with the shipping containers, like the whole thing has been mystifying and exciting and got me more excited for Chromacopia in a shorter amount of time than really any release. Like, some artists, it takes months and months and months of announcing and releasing singles for people to get any amount of hype at all. And then you have artists like Tyler where it's like no real announcement, just a video and a single, and then, hey, this album comes out next Monday.
Yeah.
That's it. And there's still more hype for it than any release with a campaign or a full-blown release calendar. So got to give him credit for that. And then the album itself, I mean, personally, I'm still listening to it and unpacking it a lot, but what do you think about it?
I'm the same way. I've given it, I think, just 2 spins all the way through, and then I've listened to singles a lot throughout it. So yeah, I'm still processing, but I think it's a great album.
Yeah, I think it's super good too. It gives me like Flower Boy vibes with some Wolf vibes. Gives me occasional Igor feelings, but honestly, it's not as much like Igor as I would have maybe thought from the singles, or I guess rather just the one single, Noid. But I think overall the album is kind of a bit more like all over the place than like Igor would have been, or even Flower Boy. Like, conceptually, the songs are kind of all over the place. You have some like really out there stuff, and then you have some more like straightforward melodic stuff. You have raps, you have singing, you have a lot of features from people, and the features are kind of all over the place too. So I do think it's one of those records where like it takes multiple listens, and in my opinion, Igor was more of like you listen to it from start to finish, and this one you can kind of cut in and cut out. It's not necessarily like you have to listen to it from start to finish, and it doesn't feels like conceptually it's all about pretty much the same stuff, like midlife crisis-y type shit, like, oh, I'm getting older, I don't have kids, like, am I gay? I still don't know. Things like that. But you can definitely dip in and dip out.
When I said I've been listening to singles, I know there was only the one real single before the album was released, but like a lot of the songs have been coming up in my shuffle. Yeah, it's like a great album to, can listen to a couple tracks off of and skip around and it's 2024 has been a cool year for like I think significant releases like I think between this, Brat, and No Name, like remarkable releases with cool strategies behind them and like good music and good albums. Definitely.
Yeah, good release strategies overall, and I think it's cool to just see people playing with the formula of like how to release new things. Like definitely Tyler using Instagram to release stuff, and even earlier this year like Kendrick putting out like Not Like Us through Instagram and all that shit was super interesting. And just cool to see artists do it like their own way rather than following the stupid like rules that were arbitrarily decided by someone above our pay grade, for as far as like streaming and all that bullshit. But I do think so as far as like releases this year, I really do feel like No Name and Chromacopia both follow the model of let's get back to more the way that we used to release music. Like No Name was about like having no campaign, everything is a surprise, nothing needs hype, there doesn't need to be a million radio singles. And, you know, you don't have to play huge venues with full production in order for the shows to be good. And Chromacopia, the idea was like the music doesn't have to come out on a Friday on a streaming service. Like the music can come out, you know, at the beginning of the week when people actually have time to get to know the record and they can listen to it when they're like going to work. And the structure of the release was more like how it used to be back in the day, like releases on Tuesday. Record store, you could go get it on a Friday if you listened to it all week and knew that you liked it type shit. So I feel like they're both following the guise of like, the way that we've been doing this is fucking stupid. We should do it the way we used to do it because it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Heads up. A band I've gotten into very recently, just in the last couple of days, that I wanted to bring up to you, Wonder Horse. Have you heard of Wonder Horse?
That sounds kind of familiar, but I don't think I've ever listened to them.
Wunder, horse, one word. I found him because I was recommended one of their live performances on YouTube and watched it. And they had great energy, good songs, good songwriting, good stage presence. I was fully in. They released 2 albums. The first one was in 2022. It's called Cub. And then they put one out somewhat recently in 2024 called Midas. Yeah, it came out end of August. And I've been spinning both of those records. I think I preferred the debut Cub a little bit more, but Midas has some great tunes on it too. I think you would like them. But yeah, they're from England, from UK, kind of like a, not to be reductive at all, but like similar to, or there's similarities to Idols, there's similarities to Fontaine's DC, but I'd say there's a little bit more of a classic rock thing in some of their songs. There's a few songs. Did you ever listen to Ocean Color Scene? Another Britpop band.
No, I don't think
I think
so.
you'd actually dig Ocean Color Scene.
I feel like that sounds familiar too for some reason.
Yeah, look up play some Ocean Color Scene sometime. I think you'd dig it. And then, there's a couple songs like especially Leader of the Pack off of Cub that really reminds me of the Ocean Color Scene sound. And but yeah, check them out. I'm a big fan.
Okay,
Wonder Horse.
Will do. Wonder Horse. I had a homie that I met in Japan. I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but I do have some cool J-pop artists to recommend.
Okay, good.
I've been checking them out.
That was going to be my next question.
King Gnu is one of them. I've been listening to a lot of King Gnu ever since I got back. They're super good. And then the other one is Official Hingedism or something like that. Official Hingedandism. They're super good as well. It's more like Japanese alternative music. I think you'd really, really like it. Check out the song Pretender.
Okay.
Let me know what you think. But yeah, those 2 J-pop bands have been 2 of my favorites that were recommended to me by the homie that I met in Japan. And it's been cool too because I, again, not knowing that much about J-pop, kind of assumed it was all just pretty modern sounding, like very pop driven and like synthetic almost. But a lot of what I've heard from these 2 bands has been like a lot more like indie alternative, or like at the very least just more like organic and not quite as like synthetic pop, which is really cool.
I meant to look up a couple of the Japanese artists I've been into in the past because I'm having trouble remembering their names, but I've actually discovered a lot of great Japanese music from KEXP.
Oh, cool.
They like have Japanese artists on. It feels like somewhat regular. Maybe that's just what YouTube's recommending me because I've shown an interest in it. But a lot of like really cool, like I've gotten some more experimental Japanese artists that way, and then like a lot of heavy rock out of Japan. There was a song recently I got kind of obsessed with though. It's Tokyo is something. Oh, this is driving me crazy. By like an all girl pop group.
Okay.
But it's like almost like hyper pop and such a banger, but very political and like such a cool, concise message. It's half in American, half in Japanese.
That's cool.
I think the choruses are did I say American? Jesus. Half in English, half in Japanese.
American.
Speaking of the whatever. Yeah. Atarashi Gakko. Here, let me play a little bit of the music video for you. That's a great music video too.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking when I was thinking J-pop. Like,
Yeah.
Not that I knew that, or not that I thought that 100% of the J-pop would sound like that, but just that like what I got recommended would be more similar to that. But like, listen to this.
Oh. I love this.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it's just like
Beautiful.
so much more like indie than I would have expected.
Here's the lyrics to that Tokyo Calling song. Tokyo Calling, we're on the edge, almost falling. Like a nightmare, a dystopian story is looming. Tokyo Calling, city's pulse almost failing. Forever enthralling, beyond reach, hope's distant glory.
Wow.
Like heavy lyrics for like, this was like a huge hit, I think, in Tokyo. Can you imagine a song in America with lyrics like that?
Not
like,
at all.
Getting on the charts?
It's like big booty hoes.
Yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, has
Wet
its
ass
place.
pussy.
Yeah. That was kind of a political anthem. What a grim time, dude. I
Grab a
remember
bucket and a mop.
I remember going to downtown Denver like in the height of COVID, and it was like just a like gray, gloomy day. I was downtown near 16th Street again. Trash everywhere. Felt like a ghost town. No one was out because it was COVID. And then a car went by just blasting Wet Ass Pussy. I was like, I don't feel at home in this world anymore. Not that I don't think Wet Ass Pussy is a banger, but
it's just not what you want.
no. It's unnatural. My fiance's a doctor. She said that's not supposed to happen.
If you need a bucket and a mop, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was a Ben Shapiro reference. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro had a bunch of legitimate outrage about that song, and his wife is a doctor. He's like, what?
He has
my
a
wife's
wife?
Yeah, more surprising. True. But he said something like, my wife's a doctor, and she said that's not supposed to happen. That's unnatural. So Ben Shapiro has literally never turned a woman on.
Good.
Yeah. How could he?
Yeah, I mean, he likes men, so he's just wasting his time.
He's obvious. Yeah, there's a lot of repressed homosexuality in Ben Shapiro.
So much.
Yeah. Any other new music you want to recommend?
That was my Japanese pop plug, I think, for the week. I'll keep listening to other artists and I'll get back to you. The new LCD song, did you check that out?
Yeah, I did. I checked it out.
Ugh, it's kind of fucking boring, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but like we get it, bro. You like synths and you like monotone talking. Oh, these are the lyrics to every single song. I'm telling a story that I completely made up on the spot. I don't give a fuck about what I'm doing. That's the whole point. And then the synths are just like so boring, dude. Just fucking you quit because you said you didn't have any new ideas. You didn't have any ways to push the band forward. let it be that then, motherfucker. Don't.
Yeah.
I know rent in Manhattan must be expensive, but like, come on, dude, just fucking sell some of your old gear.
Yeah, it's now a caricature of itself.
Literally, that's the
Like,
perfect way
yeah.
of putting it.
I've been listening to even more REM than usual lately. And I've been listening to a lot of later period REM.
Okay.
A lot of Monster, a lot of New Adventures in Hi-Fi.
New Adventures in Hi-Fi is so good.
Yes. We were talking about that with Connor over text the other day, and I think my latest REM ranking is Murmur is always going to be at the top for me. I love Murmur. Second place is a tie between Reckoning and Document. I really can't pick between those. And then I think 3 is New Adventures in Hi-Fi. The like kind of big 3, like the chunk where they were the biggest band in the world and their albums like all sold a crazy amount of copies. Those were Out of Time. What came after Out of Time? Oh, Automatic for the People. And Monster was next. And people were kind of starting to fall off of Monster. Those are great albums, don't get me wrong. They're great songs on them, but I don't think in terms of other REM albums, they really hold up as well as like the earlier period stuff. They're kind of like weird, almost sloppy albums in a lot of ways. And again, like I like the albums. There's not an REM album I really like dislike, but that's where I'm at right now.
That's cool.
I think that Monster's a weird album.
Monster is really out there.
The sound on it is crazy.
Yeah, it takes like adjusting almost, but that's honestly kind of how I feel about Automatic for the People too.
Yeah,
like that. All of their albums, like each one has an interesting kind of different take on production, and some of it just sounds so much more like stuck in the 90s. Like some of it's more timeless, and some of it is just like, this sounds like a 90s
Yeah, no,
album,
I think
you know
like Murmur is more timeless than anything they
like
did
Automatic.
in the 90s, which is surprising.
Super weird.
And I was like reading reviews of Monster, and like I remember someone said like it's a masterclass in restraint. And I was like, do you want that though? Like,
but it's not even really.
Yeah.
It's more subdued than it is restrained.
I know. And like, I watched the music video for What's the Frequency, Kenneth, again. And it's like, did I just think What's the Frequency, Kenneth was a good song and that was a good video because everyone said it was? Because I watched it again, like trying to remove any subjective feelings I had about it. I was like, I don't think this is a good song, really. What's the Frequency, Kenneth?
I mean, it's
a good song,
decent.
But to be like a huge single like that, and like all the comments under the YouTube video were like, man, whenever this would come on MTV, I'd get so excited.
I would jizz my pants.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like just like a bunch of like dudes in their late 30s, like wearing ridiculous shit, hopping around, like with a like kind of quiet, like weirdly produced rock song playing behind them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? This was the height of...
Like, this was the pinnacle of the 90s.
Yeah.
There's a new Freddie Gibbs album called You Only Die Once, which I really like. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm like 3/4 of the way done with it, and I just like it because it's more like R&B and like hip-hop influence than it is like trap influence, because his last album was like weird like trap shit. Yeah. I just didn't think it was very good. But this album's kind of more like, it doesn't really remind me of Alfredo, but it definitely takes from the Alfredo side of things, where it's like more like R&B and like vintage hip hop sounding, which I like. So I think that's a pretty good solid release. It's only a few days old. It came out on Friday. And then there's also a West Side Gun album, which so far has been so fucking boring. Like, produced by DJ Drama, but it's just... There's like half of a good verse per song, and each song is only like a minute and a half long. So kind of more not more traditional, that sounds mean, but like more of the newer West Side Gun shit, where it's just like kind of feels like he's just phoning it in for the sake of a release, which I'm not a big fan of. And then new Tenarwin single, which is pretty good.
Oh, how'd I miss that?
It's called Tehert, I believe. Tenhert. But it's really, really good.
Apple Music is so bad about what it suggests to me as new music, like new releases I might be into.
That's another, if we're doing a follow-up on my Apple Music experience so far, it always gives me new releases like 2 weeks after they've dropped.
Yeah.
Which Spotify, it would be like, and granted, Spotify knows me better. It's more curated to me because I've spent so much time developing my algorithm on Spotify, but like, the day that a release comes out that it knows I'm gonna like, it's like, hey, this came out today, like check this out.
I've been with Apple Music since like 2015. It should know my taste very well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I listen to Tanarwin all the fucking time. How did it not tell me a new Tanarwin song came out?
Yeah.
Frustrating. Speaking of LCD from a second ago, did you ever listen to that Dare album, The Dare, when it dropped a month or two ago? Are you familiar with The Dare?
Yeah.
I saw someone on the internet call him STD sound system. What do you think of The Dare? Well, without having listened to the album.
Well, yeah, not having listened to the new shit. I think I checked them out because my mom told me I would like them my mom didn't tell me I would like them, but my mom told me they were like LCD sound system. And yeah, they're like a cheap copy of LCD Sound System.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't fuck with them that hard.
Yeah.
It's like...
The biggest thing he has going for him is he wears a suit that looks good on him and he has a decent haircut.
And like...
And he did some collabs with Charlie XCX.
I'm not just trying to like hop on the cool kid train and be like, I hate LCD Sound System, because I know that generally at this table we haven't necessarily said the best things about LCD Sound System, so it could just be easy to just shit on them and be like, they suck. But like really over the years, I have done nothing besides fall more and more out of love with what LCD Sound System does. Like the more I've listened to it, the more I've gone back to it, the more I've realized it's just simplistic, reductive, super repetitive, just not very good music by a dude who's kind of just an egomaniacal fuck.
Yeah.
And so I don't really want the cheap copy of that. Like the original thing, if I wanted it, I'd listen to the original thing, and I don't even really want the original thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's weird for like your shtick, for your selling point to be like, oh, I'm a nostalgia act, kind of. Like,
yeah.
It's a weird situation to be in.
There's like so many Instagram bands where that's their whole thing. It's like, you should definitely check us out if you like 9 Inch Nails and Nirvana. It's like, bro, I don't want to listen to the cheap copy of two bands that are over 20 years old at this point.
I just came across a band on Instagram and their bio was once referred to as the bastard love child of the Talking Heads in Nirvana. I was like, first of all, do you realize... Oh, okay. You're just a combination of two of the best bands of all time. Okay, cool. Second of all, like, fuck off. I don't listen to the Talking Heads or Nirvana. I'm sure you're not like even in the ballpark of either of those groups.
The more that Instagram bands compare themselves, I feel like someone said this. Maybe it was Sandman. Maybe I'm stealing this line from Sandman, but someone recently basically said the more that you compare yourself to bands like on Instagram or whatever, like, oh, we sound like Smashing Pumpkins, the more that does is just open the door for literally everybody who sees that video to immediately be like, well, these guys sound nothing like Smashing Pumpkins. Because if you give people the opportunity to compare you to a band, then the first thing they're going to do is exactly that. And the chances that you're going to sound like Smashing Pumpkins to anyone that listens to you is like very small. It's like a really hard thing to do. And like, you shouldn't want to do that anyway. Like, you should sell yourself based on like, I don't know, what you like, what you actually sound like, not like what the cheap copy is that you're trying to be. Yeah,
like whenever people ask me about Podcadzo, I almost never cite another band, and it's not out of like thinking we're so great that like we're truly like nobody else, but I just don't want anyone coming in with
the preconceived
notion of that, and I don't want to I legitimately don't want to compare us to, because one, I don't like any band that I'm inspired by. I would never dream of like thinking that we're like anywhere near them, and it's just like I really feel like we're not like other bands too. like, not that we're the most unique thing that's ever happened to music or anything, but I can't think of a band that's like a parallel of ours.
There's no bands that have the exact same like MO that we have. And even if you think that you do, like, if you're one of those bands that's like, oh, we write songs exactly the same way that like Kurt Cobain used to write songs in Nirvana, there's just no way that you could ever possibly fucking know that, like, at all. The fact that you think that, you know, Kurt Cobain like had all these ideas because he was like fucking on drugs or whatever, like, you don't emulate the songwriting style by emulating the lifestyle. You just get that shit by being like like an individual. Like, just be an individual. Don't try to copy someone else's shit. And also realize that, if you open the door to comparisons of what you think you sound like, then other people are definitely going to draw that conclusion way faster of like, oh, they don't sound like that. Mm-hmm. If you just never said that you sounded like Nirvana, no one would ever think, well, these guys don't sound like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Like,
but at the same time, there's been a huge surge of bands that do sound exactly like Nirvana. It's funny. I'll see like, it's happened 2 or 3 times recently where I've seen a band touring through Denver. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're about. And then one of them was literally like, it might as well have been a Nirvana tribute band. It was a power trio. The lead singer had a Kurt Cobain haircut. He played a backwards lefty guitar.
Wow.
He like, what's the point here,
he was
guys?
doing the whole damn thing.
Yeah, they were writing original songs that sounded exactly like Nirvana songs. But I was like, is this it? This is your selling point? This is your shtick?
Between songs, was he being like, this one I wrote because it reminded me of Kurt Cobain?
Every song. But anyways, digress. All right, brother. Is that a podcast?
Yeah, man. I think that's everything I got.
Cool.
Cutouts. Still good.
So good. Cutouts so good. Oh, sorry. Last album I meant to touch on. I talked about this when we did our last episode of when we were talking about releases we were looking forward to. The Courteeners' Pink Cactus Cafe album came out. It's pretty decent.
Good?
It's fine. I like it. Oh, and I've listened to the Snow Patrol album a few times.
I still haven't gotten around to it yet.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. I need to check it out.
Good, easy listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of exactly what I was expecting. Like,
yeah, and same with the Courteeners.
Catchy, relatively poppy. Not too much more than that, really.
Yeah. Both albums, very solid adult alternative.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Right. Well, good luck with this election and whatnot. Obviously, by the time you see this, we already know who the next president. Well, hopefully, we already know who the next president is. And there haven't been any like coups or anything like that. But be safe out there.
Be safe. Spread love, not hate. Don't let hate win.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.